It's cold here in Ireland. Hello, DevOps friends. How are you? Welcome to Full Stack Live. I'm Jochen, the cold monospace mentor. And I'm not going to grease my hair back. I might gel it back just to get it under control because I'm growing it out, as is pretty obvious. And I'm going to tie it back or maybe use a little bit of product to help me, but grease, nope, not my thing. Hello Exegete, Tiburian. Hello everyone. How is everyone doing? Fresh and hot. I didn't break it. Is it broken? What is broken? RJ, hello. Are you okay? I'm gonna stop complaining. Exegete writes it's minus 13 degrees. I mean, we are still above freezing, so it's about 2 or 3 degrees, but it's cold enough because this house is not insulated at all. Typical Irish build style. It's in order to keep my CO2 levels low in my little office here, I also have the window slightly open, so yeah, it is what it is. But since people have more than 10 degrees less than we do, I'm gonna shut up now. Let's type ourselves warm, shall we? Antiburian has cold temperatures as well. I guess RJ does too. Whoa. Minus 19. On the other hand, I have to say, if it's really cold and crisp and dry, that's fine with me. As they say, there's no bad weather, just bad clothing. But it tends to be also quite wet here in Ireland, and that's a combination that I really don't like. On the technical side, I got my Elgato Wave XLR back, so the microphone is back on a more potent audio interface than it was before. Before, I tried to use the Atom Mini video switcher that I have, but that doesn't have the amplification the microphone here needs. So I should be a little bit louder than on the recent streams. I also noticed that on my interview that Theo did on Saturday, which was a great thing. I need to give Theo a shout out. Let me do that quite right now. Theo? Right? Yeah, here we go. Theo is a cybersecurity streamer and does a great job at it, and it's a nice, pleasant stream, and as is quite obvious, I like cozy, pleasant streams. And so Theo did an interview with me on Saturday where he interviewed me about all kinds of things, about IT career, my own, and my recommendations for others. And it was a lot of fun, and maybe some of you even watched it. I do know that Exegete attended the stream. I have a question for you, Exegete. It was a lot of fun, and if you go over to Theo's stream, you can not only follow his stream, but also watch the VOD of my interview. I need to download that as well. My question to you, Exegete, is I saw your comment about my, what was it, engine maintenance cycle? I actually don't know how to put it better, so I would be curious what you meant by my German is showing. So just to give you a little bit of background, one of my first, if not the first freelance job I got was developing an application for a nuclear power plant where this application should basically help them manage maintenance of electric motors and pumps and valves and all these things. So these electromechanical devices in general, and of course, in a nuclear power plant, these need to be maintained cyclically and certified and all these kinds of things. And back in the beginning of the 90s, people still did this, managed this on paper, and the application I developed was supposed to make things easier. To all the native speakers out there, how would you call that? Oh, I can see. Okay, I can see what you meant. Yeah, but I sure hope that in the context of nuclear power plants, this is not a stereotypical German thing. I hope to God it isn't. But yeah, okay, I gotcha. So in terms of more pedestrian things, maintenance cycles and stuff like that, yeah, that's definitely more of a German thing. That's correct. So it wasn't about my choice of words, more about the thing itself. Okay, good to know. All right. What else are we going to do? Let me reload my Twitch dashboard because that does strange things. It's doing strange things. Now it's working better. Okay. Okay, I see. You didn't have the context then. This should have worked. But I had to restart OBS, and that might actually have botched things. Give me just a second. Going to yeah, well, just a second. That's that, and. Exegete already spotted the new channel point redemption. I'm going to add a few of these over time, just to make things a little bit more fun. Okay, I'm still getting back into the swing of things, and I guess a little bit more coffee can only help. Thank you, putting a lot of time into these things. Do these clash with the alerts? They do, don't they? Maybe I should switch off alerts for that. Yeah, I think I should. Give me just a second. View rewards. No, it's about the alerts here. And channel points. Let's switch that off. Okay, so if we redeem that now. Yep.
It's a Unix system. I know this.
That works out of the box. Brilliant. Alright, so what are we going to do today? I have a new project in mind, even though my old project, the backup script, is still not finished, so I might actually do a little bit of work on that script later, but my main task for today is going to be work on my new workshop. Not only am I still working on my Linux master course, I had to concede that that is going to be a long-term project and it'll take me months to get my my stuff going there, my materials ready to actually do the course and things like that. So yeah, I'm going to take my time doing that, but I really want to get some kind of a teaching product out there in this first quarter of 2024. And by the way, Happy New Year if we haven't spoken yet. So I have in mind to prepare a talk and based on that a workshop about Varnish, the caching HTTP proxy. We've been using Varnish for more than a decade now, and it is a huge part of why we call ourselves a high-performance managed hosting platform at my company. Varnish is just amazing in terms of performance. So if you are able to cache your HTTP content at all, if it's not completely interactive and needs to be individual for each and every user at every time, Varnish is a great addition to your hosting setup, and I'd like to bring that across in my workshop. And not only that, I'd also like to introduce people to how Varnish works, how HTTP even works, just as the foundation on top of which Varnish then comes into the picture. And of course, since I'm going to do it as a workshop, there will also be practical work on setting up Varnish and working with its VCL configuration language. Does Varnish interfere with HTTP2? It does not. It is fully following the HTTP standards, and that way it does not interfere with HTTP2. What Varnish doesn't do, though, is SSL. So there has to be something in front of Varnish that does the actual traffic decryption. So we've built our hosting platform in a way that we have what we call edge routers.
Bombers, get the subs in launch mode. We are at DEFCON 1. DEFCON 1.
Hello, Raiders! Raiders! JDo TV. Welcome to Full Stack Live. Welcome to the Stack. Thanks for following. Brett Mackey, welcome to the Stack. Happy to have you over. How is life? JDo TV, what did you do? How was your stream? I hope you had a lot of fun. I'm just only starting out.
It's a Unix system. I know this.
Thanks for the follow. That's very kind of you. No Roboto, just Mimoto. Brilliant. Just silly guys. We do love silly over here. We are system administrators after all. Yeah, I've just started my stream today. So I was just explaining the workshop that I'm going to work on today. There's going to be a lot of writing, and later I might actually also continue work on a automation script. Maybe to give you a little bit of background what we are doing here. Full Stack Live is my channel. I'm Jochen, the Monospace mentor. I'm a system administrator by heart, have been doing so since 1993. And for the last 13 years, I've been running a business which is a managed hosting platform for Drupal and WordPress websites. We are specialized in high-performance websites. And here on my stream, I talk about all kinds of stuff, system administration, DevOps, and SRE. And also a little bit of Ruby coding, because because that's what I personally use to do the system automation on hundreds of Linux servers, and also for a little bit of web development too. Working on your node-based coding app. Let me take a look. Oh, Fred, I saw what you did there. Yeah, so that's what we are about here. We also have a very friendly Discord. So if you are into system administration, SRE, DevOps, or all that stuff, then join us in our Discord. I just noticed a typo here in the code that I have on screen by accident. It's not even on screen for you. I just looked at it earlier, and there is a typo in there. I need to check that.
It's a Unix system. I know this.
Among Ghosts, thank you for following. Very lovely. So, yeah, why not show you what I'm fiddling over here? Just a second. I need to figure out this keyboard. Jurassic Park. It's just a classic. Sitting down at a high-end SGI graphics workstation and being familiar with it as a, 14-year-old girl or something like that. That's impressive. Okay, so how about we get going? Let me show you what caught my attention. So there was a typo in here because it said enable, where it should have said enable. And I wonder if that was because I deleted it earlier. What you can see here on screen is actually the source code for the keyboard I'm working on. I'm typing on. So most of my keyboards are using the QMK firmware, and QMK is basically a firmware that you can program yourself. You can make your keyboard do all kinds of stuff in the confines of what USB and microcontrollers can provide you with, and so that way I'm able to program my split keyboard just how I want it to be. I can use any layout and any layers that I want, and can combine all kinds of key presses and stuff like that. And now I'm curious if this missing A did actually break something, or if I just deleted that earlier and it's now fixed. So let me quickly check if this still compiles. No, first of all, I'd like to see. Yeah, that was actually broken. Oh, okay, I see. The reason it wasn't broken is that I have accordion enable, whatever that is. I'm not going to go into this deep of details. I had that disabled anyway, so using a non-existent symbol here actually disabled this ifdef block, and it should have been disabled anyway, so that's why my keyboard is behaving as it is supposed to. But let's actually compile that anyway. So let me see. That should do with QMK. Yeah, here we go. Yep. Interesting. That's an error I didn't expect. Layer sim isn't undeclared. Yes, it is, because it's symb. How many typos do I have in there? Okay, now it's working. Let's commit this. Fix. That's the port source Lulu in my GVis configuration. All right, that's done. And this was just a distraction. The thing that I was actually going to work on is a workshop for Varnish. Varnish is a caching proxy. And if you're not familiar with that, what that is, let me illustrate that for you. Let's see. So, normally you have the internet and your web server and your visitors and their browsers talk to your web application directly. Now, wait. Still getting used to this app. What we are going to do is put Varnish in the middle. And only Varnish talks to your web application, and only Varnish talks to the visitors of your website. Yeah, let's call it Apache. What's Apache? How do Native Americans come into that? And yeah, I need to set up this scene with at least a little bit of a camera so people know who this spooky voice is coming from. Varnish is a proxy, which means Varnish by default simply takes all the requests that come in, passes them to the web application, and then it takes the response from the web application and passes it back to the visitor's browser. So it's completely, by default, it's completely transparent. And of course, you wouldn't put something in the middle that is completely transparent and only makes things more complex. Instead, you wanted to do a few things. And the things that it's doing is mostly caching. Varnish can serve hundreds, if not thousands, of requests per second from its in-memory cache. And that's a level of performance the usual web application and web server can't reach. Varnish is more technology that's used by CDNs. Fastly, for example, uses Varnish as their CDN software. Division by Zero. Hello, Marcus. How you doing? And by using Varnish, you can actually speed up your web application tremendously. If of course, it's possible to cache your content for at least a little while, if not even for a long while. Sun is shining, sounds good. I hope you have recovered a little bit and got a little to get a little bit of sleep and rest. Apache 1.3, I'm not sure if you should still use that. That version, I mean. You can use Apache, it's perfectly viable software, but your version number should have a 2 in front. So, I'm actually not sure where I'm going to do my writing. I guess I should create a new repository for that. A new repository. And then we'll use the text in there to then write my video script. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. So let's go into source monospace and we'll call it workshop varnish. And let's create a new tmux session from here. I did that in the past, Tiburian, but the thing is my dev null device got so hot from all the typing and writing that I was a little bit afraid if I should continue that, and that's why I'm now using normal files, because burning all these bits does get your null device really, really hot if you're not careful, and if it doesn't have a physical cooling fan. So yeah, you should really be careful with that. Varnish time, exactly. I'm going to work on a talk. Since I want to visit quite a few conferences this year, I thought, why not talk about Varnish and its latest features and all that stuff that we do with it. And yeah, this is going to become a talk and a workshop as well. So it serves multiple purposes at the same time. Now let's get going and let's create a file here, and we'll call that workshop.md. Title: build your own CDN grade content cache with Varnish. It's always hard to get started, the whole blank page syndrome. Maybe, but we'll simply start with a heading introduction. What's up? Introduction. Here we go. Dear, this is complicated. Maybe I shouldn't write at all. Yeah. On the web, performance is second only to the overall value a website creates. SEO experts even, oh, it's not just that they claim. I think that's a given. search engines like Google even take the response time of a website into account when they do their search result ranking. The problem is that depending on the complexity a web application has to deal with behind the scenes, I should actually take my vitamins. Let's do that for a second. Otherwise, that reminder is going to drive me nuts. Vitamins and coffee. Great combination. Reaching optimal or reaching minimal response times is a challenge. Common websites using a content management system like Drupal or WordPress, for example, often do hundreds or even thousands of database requests to render just a single page. I want to make it a habit to put each sentence into its own line. That's something that I still need to get used to. In such a scenario, or let's put it otherwise, even if a single database round trip only takes a millisecond or two, those add up quickly. This is in this scenario people often recommend using a CDN. By putting a content delivery network in front of the web application, and having it serve the content to the website visitors, or just to visitors, website operators can lower the average content delivery time significantly. But why is this? But why does adding another component to the content delivery pipeline and thus increasing infrastructure complexity, in fact, make things faster? The answer is caching. Based on the limits imposed by the web application itself, a CDN will store content it's served once for a specific time span. Subsequent requests having stored this content locally allows the CDN to serve it again to following requests for the same that's a little bit redundant, but we'll edit that later. So, for request for the same content. That's how web caching works, basically. You have a system that gets the content from a website or a web application. We can use these terms interchangeably. And it'll store this content for a while. And if now additional requests come in asking for the same content, the CDN does not have, again, to reach out to the web application. Instead, it'll simply grab the content right from its own cache storage and serve it to the visitor. And that, of course, can be orders of magnitude faster than going back to the web application, have it do all these database requests again and again and again, always for the same content. And that way, a CDN will speed up content delivery by, as I said, orders of magnitude, by 10, 100, maybe even 1,000 times. Since the web application is not involved in these interactions anymore, their speed can be orders of magnitude higher than the original request that created the cache object. Okay, that's CDNs, but where does varnish come into the picture? And that's a valid question. How do I lead over to that? Spartan GDR. Good question. Welcome to the stack, by the way. How useful is it? Well, I mean, you could, of course, go all the way and put varnish instances across the globe and kind of mesh them together and build your own CDN that way. By the way, if you do that, you've basically rebuilt Fastly. That's exactly what Fastly is. Fastly is a network of globally distributed varnish instances. Of course, that would be the high-end solution, but not everyone wants to use or build their own CDN. And thanks for your question. That is the segue that I was looking for. However, not everyone has the means to what do we do with the CDN? To employ, to whatever it means, or let's put it otherwise, the cost of a CDN can be substantial too. What if you don't want to increase the cost of running your website and still benefit from the advantages of cached web requests? Then you use varnish. You're perfectly right, Spartan GDR. That's definitely correct. The problem is that having globally distributed caches alone isn't sufficient. And as Balthasar says, the answer to your question is it depends on what you're caching. The problem that comes in when you use a cache, or quite specifically when you have a whole bunch of interrelated caches, is that there are a few things that are really, really hard in computer science. And let us say together, one of these problems is everyone, the class, Bueller, cache invalidation. Cache invalidation is one of the hardest problems in computer science. And cache invalidation means, well, it's good that you have stored stuff in your cache and that you can serve it quite quickly. But when do you throw stuff out of your cache again? because you can't cache everything indefinitely, because that means you'll deliver stale content. And this problem, you have this problem with a single instance running Varnish, and we'll have to address that in this talk and workshop. But if you have a globally distributed network of Varnish instances, then this becomes another interesting level of difficulty, because then you need to synchronize cache validation between these instances. And while I can think of ways to do that, it's not trivial. It'll probably take me quite a few weeks to build something that's robust and actually works as a globally distributed CDN, and that's why I haven't rebuilt Fastly yet. So let's go and yep, you need the central application, the CDN management logic, the CDN backplane, so to speak. And to my knowledge, there is no open source CDN backplane, so you'd have to build that yourself. Now, let's go and write about Varnish. Varnish is an open source HTTP reverse proxy with high performance caching capabilities. Since that's a mouthful, let's tease the details apart first. What about those new lines? I'm not going to explain. Open source. And since we're talking about web traffic, it's no surprise that the underlying protocol in play here is going to be HTTP. Now, what is a reverse proxy? A reverse proxy is a HTTP what's the noun to use here? Server? Service? Service that receives requests, processes them, and finally passes them. Let's rephrase that. That receives requests and passes them, usually in a modified form, to a web site or web application. In the following I'm going to use website. I'm going to use the terms website and web application interchangeably. All that matters is that they return web content when asked for such. Varnish then takes this web content and passes it back to the initial HTTP client where the to the initial client where the HTTP request originated. In between, receiving content from the website backend, let's put it this way, from the backend website and passing it on Varnish does Varnish introduces a caching step in which it stores the content in its local storage. Most commonly, this storage is RAM-based, and therefore very fast. That's what gives Varnish its high performance caching capabilities. Oh, did you fix your keycap issues? So you didn't misplace your keycaps. It's just that you pulled the switch out a little bit, so... Okay, that's good to know. But hey, the fact that the keyboard is built with a hot swap PCB caused this issue in the first place. And sometimes I actually am quite annoyed by hot swap PCBs. Most of my half of my keyboards at least are soldered keyboards, so I don't have that issue. But with my hot swappable keyboards, it's quite annoying if you want to replace your keycaps with a new keycap set, and instead of just pulling off the keycaps, you actually pull out all the switches, and then you have to go back and put them back again without bending the little wires, and so that can be quite tedious. But yeah, you could replace them, and I'd like to encourage you to do so, because trying out switches and finding the ones that you like more is half of the fun about the whole mechanical keyboard hobby. By now, after a few years, I've settled on I found my favorite types of switches. Trying out different switch types, maybe even separate switch types on the same keyboard. There are people who do that. Maybe make your function keys clicky and your normal alpha keys not, things like that. So there's a lot of opportunity to play there. And yeah. What new keycaps did you get? You didn't tell me about the keycaps themselves. I'd be curious what material they are too. Because there are two main materials keycaps can be made of. Let me take a look. Ooh, those are MT3, aren't they? And MT3 keycaps are PBT plastic, I think. And yes, I do like PBT plastic as well. It's a little bit rougher. It's not as smooth. And I think that actually feels nice on your fingertips. Having completely smooth keycaps can feel cold and even slippery at times. And so I really like typing on PBT keycaps. It's not that I don't like ABS keycaps as well, which is the second material that you usually use for keycaps. But ABS plastic is a little bit cold and distant, and PBT is more of a haptic experience, I think. Maybe that's what makes you enjoy them as well. So, because if that's what leads us to the part. That's what leads us to the high performance capabilities part. Yes, those were the autumn harvests keycaps or something. They were PBT as well. Yes. Yes, there are Bakelite keycaps. I think there are also POM keycaps. That's another kind of plastic. They are also less common and Let me think. Of course, there are people who build keycaps from aluminium, which makes them very heavy. So you need to have switches with extra strong springs in there. And they are amazingly expensive, of course, because they have to be milled piece by piece. So yeah, usually if you buy keycaps on the open market from, and that means probably from Taiwan or China or somewhere, they will be either PBT or ABS. Speaking about China, one of the biggest keycap producers in the world is actually from Germany. It's the company GMK, and they only recently introduced PBT keycaps into their manufacturing. So far, they've been specialized on ABS only. But in recent years, they actually added PBT to the mix, I think. But I'm not into the whole group buy racket anymore, so I'm actually not that up to date on what's current in terms of mechanical keyboards at the moment. I'm completely sated in terms of keyboards. I have split keyboards, I have single piece keyboards, I have big keyboards, I have small keyboards, and I can choose a keyboard for every day of the week if I want to. So at one point it wasn't that interesting to me anymore, especially since I really got the keyboards that I wanted. If there's one surefire way to completely get me off the track, it's talking about keyboards. And that, of course, is when Duke joins the chat. Hello, Duke. Welcome to the stack. Oh dear. Let's get on with my workshop materials here. Well, so how did you even get off using your Moonlander? How can you not use your Moonlander? I am at the moment using my Lulu split keyboard. I can't show you on camera because I've actually removed the camera when I tried to move my whole camera setup and stuff around last night. So I'll have to reinstall the desk camera again. No way! Congratulations, Duke. That's a catch. A 1991 Model M. That's amazing. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. That's a great catch, because these Model M's, old as they are, they have tremendous prices nowadays. They go for 3 figures easily. $100, $200 even. Those buckling spring keyboards, I do like them as well. I have a new Model F keyboard, which is also built with buckling springs. It's newly manufactured, so it's not from 1991. It's from 2002, 2022, I think, 21 maybe. But yeah, these buckling springs these are really great. Still have to actually clean it, test it and such, if a key weirdly replaced, so yeah, and then, okay, yeah, it still has a PS2, but these are easy to get. PS2 to USB is easy to get, and even if you buy them on Amazon, they're only a few bucks. In terms of disassembling and cleaning it, I would actually recommend looking at the new Model F keyboards website, because the guy that runs the whole new Model F thing, Ellipse, did a very good maintenance. Did great maintenance instructions for his new Model F keyboards, and they of course apply 100% to older Model M keyboards as well. So if you can't find other sources how to get these bucking springs back in place, maybe one of the springs is misplaced or something like that, the new Model F keyboards website has great instructions for that. Invited for coffee. No one invites me for coffee. I still have a little bit left, but I want to be invited for coffee as well. But yeah, I know why you got invited for coffee, and so yeah, give her my regards, happy birthday, and I hope she's gonna have a great day. And we both know why. We both know what I mean. But here on stream, I'll be cryptic. All right, so if you just joined lately, I am writing an article or a talk or a workshop about Varnish, the high-performance reverse proxy, because I'm a big fan. I've been using Varnish in my company for more than 10 years now, and it's what enables us to serve millions of web requests every day with high speed. Even though the websites of some of our customers are really slow as hell. So let's explain why Varnish is so fast. How can it be so fast? Its cached content allows Varnish to respond to requests for that particular content immediately by serving it from cache storage instead of requesting it from the backend website again and again. Isn't it fascinating what people find just by accident? For example, oh, we have fiber to the office. We are only using a 100 megabit connection, but there's an actual fiber line right into the server room. It's just that it hasn't been terminated or it hasn't been properly connected. And I assume it's 1 gig up and 1 gig down, isn't it? That's going to make these death matches just the more exciting. I mean, that'll make your work more efficient, of course. Okay, I think at this point we should probably illustrate that, just as I did earlier. But you know what? We'll now what? Is there fiber or isn't there? It might just not be connected. There might be a physical fiber cable. And that might have been in use in the past. And it's just not connected anymore. Yeah, telecom infrastructure is wildly different between Europe and North America, or the Americas, I think, in that regard. And yeah, I can imagine if you have just infrastructure that barely is useful for the whole telephone system. Use case. Of course, there's no way you'll get decent DSL technology in place using those lines, and that's why I think the US based their whole broadband infrastructure more on cable television infrastructure and things like that, and of course now newly deployed fiber lines than the existing telephone lines, which were used in the in Europe because they were at least decent most of the time, and so when they introduced digital telephony with the ISDN standard, normal phone lines were used, and that at least got you 64 kilobits or 128 kilobits, which was a huge improvement over modem bandwidths of 32 or 56 if you really got good. And from then on, yeah, they went the DSL route as far as they could, and of course now fiber is also deployed, at least to estates or something like that, and maybe the final mile is still conventional cable, something like that, or if it's not fiber to the home. My broadband comes in via cable, so TV infrastructure, and that gives me 500 down and 50 up, and that's more than enough for my use. I can easily stream with that, and I've never saturated that 500 megabits down either. Oh yes, the monopoly situation is of course another part of the whole game. Since these cables had to be laid by someone, they commissioned them wire up every home, and that the other part of that deal was of course that they then had a monopoly on the whole broadband for that metropolitan area. Yeah, that's what got you your Comcasts and Marbells. Yeah, that's strange. We do have fiber, but we can only offer you 100 megabits. What kind of a fiber is that? Strange. But yeah, that's German internet service providers for you. Good. I was about to segue over to HTTP. what do we call this? HTTP. Let's call it caching HTTP traffic. Yeah, Tiborian, that's definitely right. As someone who doesn't deal with hardware a lot, and I even only got into building my home network out with Unify stuff and getting a home lab server and things like that recently, quite recently, at least compared to the 30 years that I've been dealing with Linux. I'm quite surprised how affordable these things have become. Getting a 10 gigabit switch into your office, or getting SFPs to actually deploy fiber connections between machines and switches. That's actually quite amazing. The level of technology we get to use in our private homes nowadays, which was high-end data center equipment just a short while ago, with the price tag that came with it. I'm still working with 1 gigabit at the moment. So I don't do things like editing video from a NAS directly and things like that, which I would probably be able to do with 10 gigabit connections. But at least for my use cases at the moment, that's going to be a little bit overkill. And so I haven't gone down that rabbit hole yet. Yeah, I think my workstation here already has a 2.5 gigabit interface. It's just that the Unify switch that I bought doesn't do it. I should have gotten a 2.5. At that point, I didn't even consider that, to be honest. I didn't think about having those higher bandwidths in the first place. So, yeah, at this point, I guess we'll have to... no, that's what I mean. Diagram. Proxy then gets in between the web client, usually in this context, most likely a web browser, and the website. Without any further instructions, the proxy will simply pass traffic through apparently in both directions. So that's the interesting thing as well. So if you deploy Varnish out of the box, I don't think it has any caching logic built in, or does it? That's something that I should investigate, actually. But let's put that to the side. If it doesn't, it'll simply pass through stuff as it comes in. So it's completely transparent. It's just a short stop in between. So in this case, it won't actually increase performance. It might not impact it significantly because it's doing its request processing very, very fast. Varnish is well known for its performance, but it'll you won't notice it. It's not going to modify anything that comes in or through, and that way you can actually simply go ahead and deploy a Varnish server and have that in between, and it shouldn't affect your web content delivery in any way. And then you can go ahead and add these instructions to actually cache stuff, to maybe even ignore specific content, maybe even drop specific requests or modify requests. And that's when it gets interesting. And that's why this is going to be a workshop in the end, because I don't only want to talk about that stuff, but I want people to actually practice using Varnish and see for themselves how it can deal with specific situations and use cases. What Varnish can do, for example, is not only cache requests, it can also modify requests so they become actually cacheable. For example, there's one situation when you have a user who's actually logged into a website. And so that probably means this user will always get into individual content that can't be cached for other users, because that would be confusing at best and catastrophic at worst. On a surface level, authenticated connections seem uncacheable, but they're not. You see, there's a huge percentage of content that goes between a website and a browser, even in authenticated connections, which is perfectly cacheable. It's all these graphical assets, for example, of a website, the website's logo, pictures, CSS files, all that stuff is most likely not individual to the logged in user. The HTML content probably is, but also only in part, but let's put that aside. All these assets could actually be cached, but there's one thing that prevents that if you don't tinker with it, and that's cookies. A logged-in user identifies themselves by sending specific cookies that the website will recognize as the authenticated user. And by default, Varnish will not cache HTTP requests that come with a cookie. In the best situation, it will cache this content for the specific user. So the cookie will become an identifying detail, but that will not improve performance in terms of, say, for example, caching the website logo and serving that to everyone from cache for almost indefinite time. And that, for example, is when you can tell Varnish, if you get a request for a JPEG file or a PNG file that comes with a cookie which prevents caching, then drop the cookie. Remove the cookie from the request and store that PNG file in cache and serve that to everyone, regardless if they are logged in or not. And exactly, put that cookie down. You not only ask them to put that cookie down, you actually take it out of their hands, because otherwise they won't get into the cache. So yeah. What? You have a docking station with 2.5 gigabits, but your desktop doesn't have an NBST NIC. So does that mean that your laptop actually benefits from your infrastructure better than your desktop? I'd have to look up if my desktop is actually 2.5 ready. I think I read something like that when I researched the main board recently, because I had to fit a new CPU cooler. But I'm not sure. Oh, you don't have the matching switches anyway. Okay. All right. Wait. We'll actually insert another diagram here. That actually looks a little bit too short for this section. I would actually like to make this a little bit more elaborate. It's actually not true. If we are really precise, I think the proxy will not pass traffic through transparently. It will actually cache content if the web application allows it to do so. Because in the end, what controls if content can be cached or not is always going to be the website or web application, and it'll do so by using specific HTTP headers. And that's what I'd like to get into here now. Unify are more pushing their enterprise switches for the higher end now, as far as I can tell from watching Raid Owl and co. TP-Link has actually built themselves a great reputation, especially with their Omada line of network network devices. They are definitely getting their fingers on at least parts of Ubiquity's launch. Sykesl is such a blast from the past, and of course they are into network equipment now, but the first high-speed modem I got myself was actually a Sykesl 1496, and that was back when Sykesl wasn't even available in Europe yet. At that time I already ran my own BBS system of a 2400 BPS modem, and of course the whole FidoNet was ablaze with Sykesl's new high-end modem, and yeah, I wanted to get my fingers on one, so I actually found someone who had imported a Sykesl modem from the US, and I still remember driving there and taking it off their hands. That must have been in 1993 or 4 or something like that. I paid 1,000 Deutschmark for that, which is just mind-boggling for a modem. And it actually had the 120 volt power adapter. And since we have 240 volts over here in Europe, it had another adapter just as big where the US adapter would plug in. So the whole power adapter assembly was already huge. And yeah, but I'm not gonna lie, having these 14400K available was an actual quantum leap, and later I could even get a backpack PCB that I could put in there that upgraded the modem to 16,800 BPS. Those were the times. Sykesl will always remind me of my earliest networking experiences. I'm pretty sure at one point we had R-Core as well. So now let's open up a subsection on HTTP headers. And how do we find out how this looks like? Well, we'll simply take a look at the network. Wait, that's the oh, that's a 304, so let's make sure that is an actual request. There's no payload, but how do I get the raw get request? Okay, here we have the headers. So that way I can simply copy it. Ah, okay, here we go. So let's copy that and put that in here. I guess I'll remove a little bit. Just to make things a little bit easier, and that no cache shouldn't be part of the request. I just pressed shift reload, so I got the no cache. Let's try this again. And if I do request headers raw, now it shouldn't have the no cache headers in there. We'll have to talk about no cache later in the materials, of course. But for the time being, let's keep this as simple as possible. Yep. Okay, so what I got is pretty much what I needed. Cyxel Enterprise support. That still strikes me as odd. Yeah, I'm really not used to Cyxel being an enterprise networking manufacturer. Oh, the good old ELSA microlink. Oh, it was an ISDN modem. Okay, brilliant. Great stuff, Division by Zero. I didn't have an ISDN modem. I went from the... I don't remember the brand of the 2400 BPS modem. Then I got the Cyxel. That got me to 14 kilobit, then to 16 kilobit. And I didn't go up to a 56 kilobit modem because that I skipped that step and went right for ISDN. Got myself a Fritz card, and yeah, then we went completely digital. Duke wrote, in that new office space is also a leftover IBM 8515 monitor and old Fujitsu Siemens Primagy 470 with a Pentium 3 and tape deck. I'm gonna drool on my very expensive microphone if you keep doing that. Pumbra, welcome to the stack. Good to have you. I've seen many senior devs using Vim. Why is that? I hope there's also junior devs and also system administrators like me using Vim. Why is that? Oh dear. I don't think you know what kind of worms you're opening here. But I'll get into that because, yeah, I hope that your question is sincere. So let's go down that rabbit hole. Let me think of a good answer. Why are people using Vim, especially if they are a little bit older in the trade? It's because the mere fact that deters people from using Vim is its main advantage. And by that I mean the modal nature of Vim. The fact that Vim operates in different modes between which you have to switch. For a novice, that looks like a reminder of the past when technology wasn't as advanced and where you were actually forced to work in different modes, back when you still had green screen terminals and stuff like that, but no text editor that people get in front of nowadays work like that, do they? VS Code doesn't work that way. Even TextMate, the old but still popular editor on macOS, doesn't work that way. Sublime Text doesn't work that way. Kate on KDE doesn't work that way, and gedit on GNOME doesn't either. So the thing is, that seems really, really odd. Why do I have to switch to input mode when I actually want to enter text? Because that's why I started this editor in the first place. And why do I then have to switch back to normal mode if I want to delete a single line or something like that? Why can't I just have a hotkey that will delete the line for me in editing mode? So this seems really, really strange. And of course, the whole meme about quitting Vim. Why do I have to actually switch back from insert mode into normal mode to then be able to enter a command, cryptic as it is, like colon Q, to just exit my editor? So this all looks pretty strange, but there is how does the saying go? There is method to the madness, because by working in different modes, Vim can actually provide you with a very logical set of editing hotkeys and commands, because it's not limited to keyboard combinations. So if we let's go to talk mode anyway. So if you compare Vim with its main competitor Emacs, Pumbra, thank you for following, I really appreciate it. If you compare Vim to its main competitor Emacs, Emacs is often ridiculed for having the most complex keyboard combinations, like press Ctrl X, N, V, and then Alt, Ctrl V, and things like that. So, of course, that's also more of a meme than anyway. There are people who are very proficient with using Emacs, and I'll never get into that editor war. Anyway, in the past I used Emacs for many years, not only to write my texts, but also to do my email and Usenet news and all kinds of stuff. So I'm definitely not going to hate on Emacs. Vim simply takes a completely different approach, and that is when you are in insert mode, then you're typing stuff, and you can also do a little bit of deleting. Of course, you don't have to switch back to normal mode every time you want to delete just a single character or word. But when you switch back into normal mode, when we don't talk about entering text anymore, that means we have the full keyboard to our benefit, and we can actually now enter commands without breaking our fingers trying to enter specific key combinations, because even the normal letters and numbers, since they aren't used for entering text anymore, we are in normal mode now, not in insert mode, we can use all the letters and all the numbers to tell the editor to do specific stuff. And that not only makes entering these commands easier than pressing Ctrl-Alt-Shift-M, it also allows Vim to make these commands very, very logical and easy to remember once you've figured out the language they are using, or the grammar that they are using. And I guess that's where the senior comes in your question, because I think senior developers are going to grok this grammar of Vim's command language maybe easier than a junior developer, but it's not as challenging that junior developers can't master that. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, once you've discovered how Vim thinks in terms of its commands and in terms of how it moves the cursor around, how it deletes parts of text, how it inserts text, and all that kind of stuff. Once that clicks, you get very, very efficient in text editing. And so, that's the short answer. I hope it made a little bit of sense. So the TLDR is, because Vim has its own command mode in which keyboard keystrokes don't enter text, it enables Vim to have a very efficient way of entering commands. And it's this efficiency that makes Vim attractive to developers, especially senior ones. Phew. I should do a Vim workshop as well, but one thing at a time. Let's catch up with chat. DDR1 RAM, yeah, it's a little bit older. Speaking of, Duke writes, speaking of ISDN, there's a whole room height server rack with just ISDN stuff inside. Gonna rip all of that out. Yeah, ISDN is dead. What a pity. RIP. Exegete seconds my claim as a senior dev. I can tell you that it's about efficiency. Yep. Tiberian, of course, is is right as well. It's just that senior developers opened Vim once when they were still junior developers, and now they're stuck in it. Duke is getting into ideology. Not going to use NeoVim because it uses Lua. What do you have against Lua? Lua is a decent language, not only for NeoVim. The whole user interface of World of Warcraft is written in Lua. I agree with XGC. No one is required to learn Vim, and Vim is not a staple of senior developers or some kind of a badge of honor or something like that. If at all, your badge of honor as a senior developer is to be efficient. If Vim helps you being that, then more power to you. But if you use a different editor, which makes you more efficient than Vim, then choose that editor, of course, because it's about efficiency, not about flexing your Vim muscles. Return to Dust wrote, had a senior engineer on my team that lived and died by the Emacs sword. Of course, there are people who are really into their editor and into flying the editor flag of choice for them. As I said, I guess I'm older and more mellow by now, and so I'm not going to engage in these wars anymore. Duke said that just don't Eclipse as your IDE. Yeah, that's... Even though I'm really into retro stuff, I'm not going to use Eclipse again. Return to Dusk asked, is that a real force? I guess you mean behind me? No, it's not a real force. I do have a happy hacking keyboard, speaking of top-res switches, and I really do enjoy using them. But I don't have a real force keyboard. Since I got the... HHKB directly from Japan when it became available, I didn't have to get a real force as well, because yeah, I got the whole top-ray goodness for myself in that smaller form factor. And by the way, Return to Dust, welcome to the stack. I'm happy to have you. So if you're asking what that is a Zoom 65. And that is a Grid 650. And behind there, that's a new Model F keyboard with buckling springs. The white keyboard with the blue keycaps is a Molly, which is a replica of the classic Macintosh keyboard. And back there is the Saturn 60 in black. Which is a custom keyboard built with a steel case. It's not an aluminium case. It's a steel case, and it has a handle, so I can actually carry it to the coffee shop and back. And there are a few more keyboards behind that. There's a Keyboardio Model 1 and a Kinesis Edge split keyboard as well. Duke requested an RTFM, so they'll get their RTFM. RFC 1097. Let's get that done. Let me see. RFC 1097. It's the classic Telnet subliminal message RFC standard. Let me take a look. Yeah. Alrighty. All right, let's turn off the music for a little. Network Working Group. Request for comments 1097. Telnet Subliminal Message Option. 1st of April 1989. Status of this memo. This RFC specifies a standard for the Internet community. Hosts on the Internet that display subliminal messages within the Telnet protocol are expected to adopt and implement this standard. Distribution of this memo is unlimited. Command name and code, subliminal message, code 257. Command meanings. IAC will subliminal message. The sender of this command requests permission to or confirms that it will display subliminal messages. IAC won't subliminal message. The sender of this command refuses to display subliminal messages. IAC do subliminal message. The sender of this command requests that the receiver or grants the receiver permission to display subliminal messages. IAC don't subliminal message. The sender of this command demands that the receiver not display subliminal messages. Finally, IAC SB subliminal message 16-bit value string IAC SE. The sender specifies a message to be subliminally displayed by the remote host. If the client has agreed via the standard will, won't, do, don't mechanism to display subliminal messages, it must accept this sub-negotiation and attempt to display the message string on the user's console for the specified duration and continue to do so at fixed intervals until another subliminal message sub-negotiation is received. The position and rendering of the message is implementation dependent. Then the RFC goes into more technical details. We'll skip to section 4, motivation for the option. Frequently, the use of message of the day banners and newsletters is insufficient to convince stubborn users to upgrade to the latest version of Telnet. Some users will use the same outdated version for years. I ran across this problem trying to convince people to use the remote flow control Telnet option. These users need to be gently persuaded. Section 5, description and implementation notes. The quality of the client implementation will depend on its ability to display and erase text strings in a small amount of time. The current implementation at CMU takes into account terminal line speed, advanced video capabilities, and screen phosphor persistence when calculating how long to wait for erasing a message. While it is permitted for the client to display the message text in line, best results are obtained by printing the message at the top or side of console screen, where it will just catch the corner of the user's visual field. A version is currently under development at CMU to display the message using Morse code over the keyboard caps lock LED. And let's skip to section 7, acknowledgements. We do things just a little sneakier here at CMU. And that was RFC 1097 in a little bit of a dramatic reading specifically for Duke 1102. I hope you enjoyed. Let's catch up with my now traumatized chat. XG tried RubyMine. It's not too bad. No, it's not. It's actually pretty famous for its code navigation features. LED shenanigans is always a good thing, Balthazar. I can recommend you lighting stuff. It does work. And if you get yourself a Zigbee dongle that can talk directly to your light bulbs and light strips and stuff like that, you don't even need the U-Hub. And it's cloud-based software and stuff like that. You can simply use an open source software like Home Assistant, for example, and have Home Assistant talk to these bulbs using the Zigbee dongle, which is just $20 or so. Yeah, you won't be dependent on any vendor that way, and won't have to use their strange and cloud-based application software. You can still be open source. Let's get the music back. Okay. Let's see what you folks have written. Duke doesn't like Doxys. Okay. That's something I have no idea about. How this whole cable infrastructure stuff works. No idea. But yeah, I got my broadband via cable as well. I have a router from my internet provider, and it's connected via coax cable to the wall socket for the cable TV. And so far I can't complain. I'm pretty happy. That's why I keep paying their exorbitant prices. Oh, you mean the PyDP11, Balthazar, the blinking lights. There's actually a command for that. Yeah, apparently back in 1989, everyone knew Morse code by heart. That's what I get from this RC. Yep, it's a PyDP11. It's running Research Unix v7, for example, but also Digital Equipment RSTS. What do you mean, how deep? Oh, you mean in actual dimensions? It's not very deep. The case is... really doesn't take much space. And it's mostly empty. It's just the front panel, which is a replica of the original PDP-11 front panel, with the whole switches and stuff. And inside, it's just in my case, it's just a Raspberry Pi 3 with an SSD. That's it. But the kit is so nicely done. I mean, it's not cheap, not really, but yeah, the guy who made these kits had to have these cases injection molded. So they are actually an actually scale replica of the original front panel and stuff, and that is pricey. All right, let's get back to work. I want to get ahead with this workshop. So let's go ahead and explain how this HTTP request works. The first line tells the receiving website that the client requests the start page and will be using HTTP 2 for or as or following the HTTP 2 standard in the for the rest of or maybe yeah. Something like that. I might have to edit that a little. The open window is nice. I only have 712 ppm CO2 in the room, but it's also pretty cold. It's 16 degrees now. I think I'll have to close the window. Okay. Otherwise my fingers are going to start freezing. The GET request is the most common HTTP request type. It simply asks for the content related to the document path in its argument. In this case, the or the website's homepage. After the request the lines that follow this get request line are HTTP headers. They are simple key value pairs with the key. Folks, help me here. What's the opposite of preceded? Followed? The key separated from the value by a colon and a space. The first header is a host header that defines the domain name. Of the website this request is targeted at. This host header was introduced into the HTTP standard to make it possible to associate multiple domain names with a single IP address. Post-seeded, is that a word? Does that even make sense? I mean, I'm all for using clever terminology, but I'm not sure if seeded is actually compatible with post. How does this work linguistically? Am I going to go into this? Of course I am. Just a second. Here we go. Seeded meaning. Seed. What's the meaning of seed? To yield or grant. Yeah, I seed the victory to someone or something like that. Is it actually rooted in seed? Okay. Yeah, to yield. Okay. Uh-huh. Of course we'd have to precede to go before something, yeah. Is there an etymology for that? Maybe we'll have to look for that. Etymology. I'm such a language nerd. Ah, yes. Directly from Latin praecedere. And with cedere meaning going. Okay. So post-C does work. To go after. C. TIL. We never get distracted by etymology on twitch.tv/fullstacklive. No, never! Never, ever! Yeah, language is something that I also love. Maybe that's why I was able to learn so many programming language during my over my career. I have a really easy time learning languages, at least if they are somewhat related. I haven't tackled learning something like Japanese yet. I might have more difficulties doing that, but learning English, French, Italian, Spanish wasn't too hard. And in terms of programming languages, it's even more diverse. As I told during my interview on Saturday, I started out in BASIC because that's what my VIC-20 came with. In high school, then I learned Pascal and Forth, which are already pretty dissimilar languages. They are very different. And in college, we dealt with Prolog, with Ada, with Pascal. Anything else? Let me think. No, I think that was about it in terms of practical programming. But I also learned assembler for different CPU architectures. I learned C and a little bit of C++. I learned PHP. Then I learned Perl, specialized in Perl for quite a while, and then I got into Ruby, and now for the last 13 years I've been mostly doing Ruby programming. I did a little bit of Java in between too, but I really didn't like it. Okay, so host header. The user agent header tells the website the type of software the client, or tells the website what client software is getting used on the sender side. The final three headers are all about what kind of response the sender will accept. I guess we don't have to go deeper into that at this point of the document. Or do we? No, I think that's fine. It's actually quite self-evident, isn't it? Okay, and someone who is going to deal with Varnish already has some kind of grasp on HTTP and stuff, so yeah. I just got a reminder that it's time to, yeah, think about wrapping things up. Final half hour. Okay, let me maybe I guess now we can also cover the response. So let's go back to the inspector. Let's request this another time. Let's take a look at the raw response. We'll again drop most of that. Response from the website. Looked like this is what the website returned as its response to this request. Some of that stuff is, of course, not really helpful, but some of it definitely is. Let's try and filter out what we don't, what's definitely only distracting. Maybe we'll... Then maybe we should also mention that the whole response, of course, returned content as well. That wasn't, that was simply stripped out by the developer tools. After a blank line, which is used to following these HTTP headers, the these HTTP, then comes the actual page content. Separated from the header section by a blank line. Where did my cursor go? The age? No, maybe I should strip out the accept ranges header as well. And I should mention that I'm leaving out headers. Request. Add a few more lines that I left out because weren't relevant to this or for this explanation. Let's use initial here. I'm getting into editing. I shouldn't. I should be writing first the initial line of the request. There are. I've again left out headers that don't help comprehension in this context. Dulzy, how you doing? What kind of a stream do you mean? People with long hair, grey beards, old grizzled system administrators. I'm working on a workshop on the varnish caching proxy. And in order to be able to configure this thing, you need to have a foundational understanding of how HTTP itself works. So that's the section I'm working on at the moment. A place for us nerds to talk shop, definitely. I'm getting alerts from our front door camera, and I think my son is outside and can't get in because, I don't know, nobody in the house except me. Oh, might actually be my daughter, actually. Let me get the door for a second. I'll be right back. And Dwilsy, let me know what content you are interested in particular, and I'll try to cater to that.
It's a Unix system. I know this. It's a Unix system. I know this.
Thanks for the follow, Dwilsy. My last sip of coffee. Alrighty, let's see. Dota Beta account. Wait, Dota Beta account. Welcome to the stack. Happy to have you. Any tips for the starting programmer and any suggestion for the first language to use? Oh, that's a huge question, an interesting question nonetheless. Starting programmer. I guess the most helpful thing I can give you is practice, practice, practice. Don't overthink things. Just find something that tickles your fancy and go for it. Start building an application that helps you do stuff. Build your own website from scratch using some specific technology that interests you. Scratch some kind of an itch that you have or that someone else in your vicinity has, and try and solve a problem. That is what will get you going. And and that's basically what Balthasar has been typing at the same time. Have a project that you want to achieve. Do try and reach a specific goal, and take care to define that goal in a good way, in a helpful way. That's, I guess, what I would recommend. And the question, what the first language should be, isn't actually too relevant, I think, because if you don't choose a very arcane language, you'll always find plenty of content online and people as well that can help you with it. And I guess even if you actually choose one of a more arcane language, there will still be people who use it. I mean, there are still people writing COBOL professionally for banks and other financial institutions and in insurance companies and things like that. So I don't think you can even go wrong in choosing your first language. But you'll probably choose one of the more common languages like JavaScript, Rust, Python, Java, C++, something like that. And I don't think you can go wrong by choosing either of them. I'm a Ruby programmer by heart. And of course, I will recommend Ruby because I really love it and I find it so universal, and it's a happy language. It's a pleasant language. It's actually explicitly built for programmer happiness. That's an explicit goal that the inventor and maintainer of the language has set for Ruby. So it's definitely something that I can recommend. Tiberian said, I started from create a calculator. After that, solve my college physics homework and go on. After. Yeah, exactly. Find something that is of use for you, because that'll keep you going. If you just construe some kind of a project, or if someone else does it for you, it's hard to keep bringing up the motivation to solve stuff for that if it's just imposed by someone, even if that someone is yourself. But if it's something that creates value for you, it'll keep you going, and you'll keep learning and doing things like that. And from there, I guess this is some kind. It's going to create some kind of a flywheel effect, where one step leads to the next, and you'll be going from there. So that's very abstract, but I don't think it's necessary to be very concrete and prescribe a specific language to someone who is only going started. Because, of course, the more you learn, the more you develop your own taste, your own preferences, and then you'll realize, okay, the language that I started out with, it got me going and it got me into the mindset of programming, but it's not going to be something that I'm going to do for very much longer, so I'm going to switch to a different language. And how different that language is going to be also only depends on your preferences. So I'll stay more abstract and general in this case and say find a language that you find interesting, or someone might be able to help you with. So if you have colleagues or people at your school or someone who would do a specific language and are passionate about that language, maybe choose that one so you can actually interact with these people and get some help. So be pragmatic and choose a language that's going to start you off. No one will demand that you'll do this language for decades. Balthasar has good advice as well, always. I can definitely agree with what he wrote. You're an IT graduate in PH. Does that mean Philadelphia, or does it mean on the Philippines? It doesn't really matter, but I'm curious. Because of the pandemic, skipped programming and continued working on some fast money jobs. And now you're going to go back to getting into software development. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Life gets in the way. That applies to all of us. Philippines. Oh yeah, brilliant. Tiberian. Behave. Yeah, life gets in the way, and sometimes we just have to make ends meet. And so, yeah, it's a definite, it's a perfectly valid approach that you took there. And yeah, So is there a language that you are already interested in? Is there something that you'd like to do? What is there? Is there anything that you can tell us that might help us give you a little bit more advice? Oh, no worries. Now the phone's ringing, and that looks like spam. So it's my office line, and usually nobody calls my office line except for telephone scammers. All right, so where are we in time? You know what? It's 10 to 5, and I'm not going to get very far with my writing anyway, so we'll end things with a little bit of fun, and we'll do some words on stream. What do you think? Let's go over there. So, words on stream. Use the QR code to join us. And the goal is to combine the letters that are displayed into words. Names aren't allowed, and each letter can only be used once. You can use the QR code to join us, and then simply type your solutions in chat. If you find a word, you'll be locked for a few seconds, and only when time has passed the lock timeout, then you'll be able to add another solution as well. So take your time, don't rush it, and don't reveal solutions that you can't use yourself because you're still locked. Other people will definitely take advantage of that. So let's get going. Okay, that does look interesting. I need to get my head in the game first. Okay. Ah, there's only one T. Balthasar with the big words again. Come on, we need to find a few more words. Ooh, buy a hair. And snuck a lost in there as well. Nicely done. Let's go ahead to level 2. Grand. Grandma! Nicely done. Balthazar sniped it away from you, Tiberian. Well done, everyone. Anything else? Dram is a great word. Another level. But I think we'll have to step up our efforts here with this new level. See, that's what you don't do. Ah, come on! I had to wait for my lock, Tiberian. Ooh, we did step up our efforts. Capita, huh? Mm-hmm. Well, we definitely are smashing this goal. Awesome work. Great. Let's take a look. Balthazar leading, followed by me, then Exegete, .beta account. Why do you want to just asking Dual Z and Tiberian? Well done. Let's get going. Ah, come on. I wanted to use teal. Don't I bet I can't try tear or tear again? I think you were just locked. Lard! Lard! That's the best try. It's a pity that it doesn't get accepted. Lard should be accepted in this context. As a grey-beard system administrator, I wholeheartedly support Lard being a real word. If you're not familiar with the term, look it up. Well done, folks! You're getting the hang of this. Nicely done. Level 5. Let's go! Good stuff. FCA? How is that a Star Trek joke? At least I didn't get it. Oh, we already had turn, of course we did. Tiberian pushing us over the line. And yes, UART should be accepted as well. Especially the 16550A. We got all the long words covered. Great job, folks. Great job. That gets us to level 6. Oh. Why do you want just asking? Is rising in the ranks. A mackerel. Wait, what? Wait, what? Why doesn't it? Oh, we are at a level where there is a fake letter. And just judging from my... Yeah, judging from my attempts, M must be the fake letter. So claim doesn't work either. This has taken me off track. We know, we know. A claim would be such a great solution. Aww. That level has destroyed us. But hey, this was fun. And it's after 5 o'clock for me, so I need to get to other stuff. This has been a great stream, a lot of fun. Thanks for everyone. Thanks to everyone for joining, for chatting, for playing with us and talking about all kinds of stuff. This has been a lot of joy for me. I hope it was for you too. I'll be back on Thursday at 2 p.m. UTC with another live coding stream where I'll probably continue with my workshop script, and we might actually do some Ruby coding as well. We'll see. On Friday there's going to be the office hour stream where I do answer questions. It's a question and answer stream. Dualzy asks, do I do labs? What do you mean with by labs? I might actually. What would you like to see? I'm very open to suggestions. Please explain. What would a good lab look like for you? Tonight there's actually going to be the Monospace Hangout on our Discord server. So if you'd like to join us for a casual chat between nerds, you are most welcome to our hangout at 8 p.m. UTC. Ansible, Terraform, general system administration stuff. Yeah, that's what I usually do on my live coding streams. Today was a little bit of a deviation from that. I usually do system administration and SRE stuff here on stream. I'll have to see. We might be doing something like that on Thursday. Yeah. So make sure to follow the stream if you don't do that yet. And yeah, join us tonight for our hangout, or join us on Thursday for my next live stream here on this channel. I hope you had the same amount of fun, or even more than I did. I definitely did. And wait, we should actually raid someone, shouldn't we? Let's take a look if there's someone online who we can actually raid. Yes, of course, there's finite singularity. We're going to raid Mark. He is the master of OBS filters and on-stream effects. Not only does he use them, he codes them, which is impressive. And yeah, so let's go over and raid Mark. Let me get ready. We are ready to raid. I just have to open up another tab here so we don't get caught off guard here. And let's go over and say hi to Finite Singularity. Until next time, folks, take care.